Shouldn't start a service-based business. Hi, I'm Will, a recovering service-based entrepreneur. And today I want to talk about my journey through fucking up, let's call it, let's say 10, 15 years of my life trying to build out a service-based business. Now, caveat to this, I do believe if you work for a service-based business, if you work as like an employee, vibes. Absolute vibes. We'll give the very quick, if you are that person, you're just working, absolute vibes, because you pretty much show up with one skill. Okay, maybe you have many skills, but you show up with one skill that they're paying you for, and then they say, yo, it's a vibe, we'll pay you a check if you continue to deliver on that skill, and that's easy peasy. The person that I'm talking about, recovering Will, and maybe you, is actually being that person that takes that next step, right? You are like, you're working for someone, you know, you're giving your service up, giving your time to a service-based business, and you're like, you know what? I can go at it alone. I can do this. I can make this happen. You're like, I think I'm going to make a business around this service that I'm offering. This is a great idea. Highly don't recommend. Please, 15 years of my life has gone to this, and yeah, we're ready to do a little AAA, little double whatever AA meeting here to talk about one, why you shouldn't do it, and also the better option. Okay, this is not just shitting on service-based entrepreneurship, because it can work. Okay, this can work, but I'm talking about the people that are just one person. You are going at it alone initially in the beginning and trying to figure it all out. And I do think that there's such a better route. So let me give you the past, the present, the future, okay? So let's go with past Will. So I started out in, you know, well, way back, way back when. I started out in high school, was terrible at everything. The only thing I was good at was like drawing anime and characters and stuff like that, and so that ended up going from like anime to then the art room, right, and doing all the art 1, art 2, art 3, art 4. If you're a long time viewer of the channel, what's up? If you're new to the channel, by the way, hi, I'm Will Mosley, recovering, like I said, recovering service-based entrepreneur. And I would just live in the art room. I loved the art room. It was my safe space. It was my home. And so it's funny how a lot of this stuff actually embeds in you, and you don't think it's like a bad thing. You think it's a great thing. It was a great thing. I often talk about how creativity saved my life, how creativity was the thing that got me through a lot of stuff, through bullying, through not feeling like I was enough, through, you know, the loss of my parent, you know, like all that type of stuff. And, you know, when I graduated from TC, like by the time I was graduating, I had this art teacher, Narena Patain, who had pretty much like helped me believe that I could do something with my art. I didn't know what it was going to be, but, you know, I said, okay, let's go ahead and do this. Let's figure it out. I scrambled for, I think, that first summer while everybody was getting scholarships and going off and doing their thing. I just, you know, I felt like I'd literally just hit a full stop. The only thing that I had on my list really was like graduating high school. And after that, I was like, what do I do with my life? Anyways, roughly 6 months later, I find myself in a college in Atlanta, taking a graphic design class and learning graphic design. And I remember the moment, bro. I fucking fell in love. Like, it was just one of those things where it was like, I saw these books, like this book, I opened up this book and flipped to the pages of the advertising. And I looked and I said, holy shit, I could take this stuff that I already know, the skill of art, and I can apply it to design, okay? And that was the initial just inciting incident, right? Where I was like, I can provide service and skill. And by the way, this is what we're taught. I'm not saying don't build up your craft, do all that, educate yourself. But this was where I think the initial seed of, I can do something with this, and I could eventually take this and start a business with this. I could be a freelancer, a web developer, a blah, 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 whatever, right? I can make money off that. That was when the initial seed. By the way, we're 36 now. So this was 16, 17 years ago, when this seed, initially just came into play. So I did terrible in that class, even though, I felt like I was doing good. I don't know. I look back and I'm thinking about what Will was like back then. It's like, was I actually good? Was I actually good? What I did know is I had passion, okay? I took that passion, I made a portfolio, I was ready to get paid, but then I couldn't get paid because, I needed a website. And so then I made a design for a website and I took it to a web developer and they're like, yeah, this is crazy, but I can give you something basic. And I didn't want to do that. And so I said, no, I'm going to build a website myself. Again, this will come all full circle, I promise. Suffered through a good 6 months of my life, floundered for a good bit. And eventually I got a job at a company called King Bio as their web developer, graphic designer. And by the way, this is a sweet spot to be. When you have a skill that you've learned, you've crafted, and then someone else that has done all the hard work of building out a service-based business, they decide to bring you on to the marketing team or bring you on to the whatever. And they pay you money in exchange for that skill because they don't have that skill. Perfect place to be. This is not a video about that. The problem is when you have bigger ambitions and want to capitalize on that skill and build a skill-based or a service-based business. So I'll skip ahead. I grew my career in that industry for like 10 years, 10 whatever-ish years. Got another job at New Human, vibed out, hung out, chilled, did the thing. But all while I was doing that, in between all that, I was trying to build a business. And this is why I say it's like a 15-year journey of like fuckery. I was always trying to like get side deals or like get like freelance gigs. If you know what, if you feel this, please let me know in the comments. I was always working a regular job, but then trying to build up like this service-based freelancer little businessy thingy that I had. Knew nothing about sales. I knew something about marketing because, it's a thing. Knew nothing about fulfillment, nothing about ascension, nothing about any of that stuff. And I just thought the problem that I thought that I didn't have the time, okay? Which probably a lot of that was true. But I thought the core reason why the business was not taking off is because it was more like a weekend business. I said, I'm doing this stuff over here full time, but I don't have that much time to actually dedicate to this. That's gotta be the reason why my business isn't working. It couldn't be that I don't have the real skills. I don't have the real skills to make this shit grow. Couldn't be that. But maybe it's just the time, okay? And so I would, for years and years, I would kind of do this endless loop where I'd get like just enough of a popcorn, just enough of a little piece where someone would randomly like, hey, do you do websites? I'm like, yeah, I do. And they're like, yeah, okay, cool. And I somehow close them every now and a blue moon. And, or like, hey, you need like every enough, and it wasn't money that I wouldn't say needed, right? Because I had a full-time job. Like that was the pay the bill money. And this was kind of like the bonus money. So the business never really took itself serious. And that's a cool spot to be in too, as well. If you're just like chilling and like, I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, but whatever. But most of us here want to actually build something that does equate to something. So we'll move on to a bit of chapter 2 of that. When I was the point when I was forced to see if the business would work, I think was around COVID time, right? Where I ended up getting laid off. And I'm like, okay, all right, like now's the time. Now I have all this time, let's build this. And it was crickets, bro. It was tough. It was tough. And I thought to myself, this is strange because I know how to market other people's stuff, but I don't know how to market my stuff. And the problem with this, I think a lot of service business people go through this, is that they don't actually, like when you are working for someone else, they figured out what the product is. They figured out the systems behind it. You are just one cog in the system. When you go on at it alone, you have to understand your avatar. You have to understand your marketing, like how to get leads. You have to understand how to close that specific avatar. You have to then understand how to fulfill that avatar and make them happy. And then you also have to understand how to get them to buy more. And that right there, if you were counting, that was like 4 or 5 jobs, like full-time jobs. And I thought to myself, I thought it a challenge. I said, maybe I don't know enough, but I can learn enough at the point where this can take off, this can work. And so I think the last year or two, I spent that building and learning and understanding how to close sales and how to properly market and like all these things that I thought to once I got there, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is actually working. It's like, oh my God, this is like, Will, I think we're finally at that point, that bridge. The 15 years has not been for naught. Big Shot said it, bro. It's not been, bro. We're here. We've arrived. We have arrived, right? Because I was getting a little bit of cash flow. I learned how to close big tickets. But the problem that you may not realize once you do finally get customers that are coming is that now you have to actually deal with a lot of relationships, okay? And some people are that person. By the way, I can fucking kill customer service, vibe out in customer service, working for somebody. When that's like my only job is just to be happy and go lucky and like let me do the thing, like I can do that. But what happens is a lot of times when you are first starting out, or at least I found for myself, you attract a lot of people that are not great clients, whether they're not able to pay, whether they don't really want to do the work, on their half, whether they have their expectations are crazy high, because a lot of times the people that you attract are probably people that are on your level or below your level. And if you are just starting a business or you're just trying to rough it, they're roughing it probably even worse than you. And you maybe don't even have the confidence to attract the big fish because you don't feel like a big fish. So you don't know how big fish think yet. So then you're attracting people whose shops are closing up and down, up and down, up and down. And that's tough. Or what you offer is just a commodity. And people are so used to rolling up to Dunkin', what up? By the way, we need a refill. And saying, let me pay $4 for this coffee and instantly getting this coffee. Like, for you to achieve that and do that in your business, very hard. For someone to roll up and then you have something, a service that you are doing, we're not talking about products, a service like personal fitness or, coaching or mentorship or, a website or logos or making a video, anything that you provide service for, very hard for someone to roll up and then 10 minutes later or even an hour later for like, boom, gotcha, done, out the door, exchange. Hard to do. Not saying it can't be done, it's hard to do it. And if you're talking about high ticket sales, much harder, but the expectations of most people are at that level. They're like, I want it fast, I want it easy, and I want it risk-free, and for good reason. They should. But because you are the only person doing everything, you will die on your sword. Because you can make that stuff happen, but you're gonna work 80, 90, 100 hours a week, nonstop, doing it nonstop. I thought to myself, the next step would be, building systems. I said, okay, I just don't have enough systems to handle the amount of flow that's coming in. And this was all true. All these things are true, but I'm trying to get to the real ceiling of what service-based business, or at least for me, that I found. Once I learned that I could close a sale, I said, I can close a $2,000 sale. I can make it happen. That felt really good. But the thing is what does this $2,000 sale actually cost me? Okay. And that's the real thing. You may think to yourself, $2,000 sale, it may take me 10 hours to do this, meaning that you get paid $200 an hour. That's really nice. But the hidden cost is not 10 hours. It takes 10 hours, I'm trying to do this, 10 hours to fulfill, because you are the only person doing it. You also have spent all this time marketing to this person. You spent all this time closing this person. You spent all this time project managing this person. And then you also spent all this other time keeping this person. So, and I'm not going to try to throw these hours all in there, but note that it's not just the 10 hours that you spent fulfilling, at least when it's just you. Then, not only that, the mental clarity. And this is another piece that for me, it's not worth my mental clarity. For instance, the benefit of working for a service-based business, right? You work for an employer. You're like, I'm a designer, I'm a developer, I'm a whatever. You can almost autopilot because you can show up. You've done your skill so many times that you know what it is. You show up, you might have headphones in, you might be listening to an audiobook, you might be just chilling, right? Your brain is here, your hands are here. They're completely separate. Your brain, because you've systematized, you've done this so many times, it can autopilot. And when it needs to kick in, it knows when to kick in, because this is what they trained us for in college and in high school and in school and in workplace, is how to actually do something for somebody, okay? So again, highly recommend working for a company, a service-based business. Highly don't recommend starting a service-based business. Again, there is a better model. There's a better way. We're going to get there. So the mental clarity, I thought to myself, when I was handling five high ticket customers, my mental clarity was fucked. I was just like, I felt like I was always trying to do all the things, keep them happy. It's literally like trying to keep your wife happy. It's like it becomes another relationship. Every person that you bring into your business is another relationship that you have to manage, right? If you do not manage it, it dies, right? If you don't take care of it, it's going to go off a cliff. And so you have every week, and not only that, you have the current people that you're trying to manage. But guess what? If you want more people to buy your service, you have to go out and market and do the people pleasing dance and make them all feel good to get them to just get them here so you can constantly entertain them, okay? And that, I'm just saying, it is a tough rodeo. Not saying you can't do it. Now you might say, well, Will, hold on, Will. What about employees? Like, if you're making money, why don't you just hire somebody to do the thing? That makes sense. I've talked about this too. That makes so much sense. Let's crush. Let's do that. The problem with hiring people, and again, it's not to say that you cannot do this. You could absolutely do it. It's just like, at what cost? At what cost to your sanity is it worth it? Because the promise eventually is like, once I figure out all this stuff, I can then eventually get people to then do it on my behalf, and then I'll be free. I'll be able to go do stuff elsewhere, vibe, while everyone makes money on my behalf. And that can be done for sure, okay? It may take a lot of your mental clarity, but it can be done. I believe heavily that it can be done. I've seen it. Now, the problem with getting employees or even outsourcing to freelancers is now, guess what? Not only are you marketing, that's relationships, then you're entertaining your current customers, those people, right? And now you have another set of relationships, your team or the people that you're trying to bring in. And you have to teach them and level them up and go through a lot of people for them to get the product right, okay? For them to actually deliver on your behalf. So all of a sudden, you now have another role that you have to do. You have to be a manager as well, not just a marketer, not just a closer, not just the fulfillment person, not just customer success, not just customer support, not just fucking finance, because you got to go get your money too when it doesn't show up. You also have to be a manager, project manager. And then you also have to be a manager, like a manager of like other people to try to get them to do stuff on your behalf. You could just like go work for a company and let them do all that bullshit that I'm talking about. And you do the one thing that you're good at and zone out and listen to your podcast. 9 to 5. Chill fucking life. I promise you, I lived that life. Chill ass life. Yes, there is a couple of cons to it, right? Yes, you got to deal with fucking Sally, the crazy ass boss. That's the visionary. That's like every week, they're like, here goes a different way we're going to take the company. You're like, this is a terrible idea. But guess what? It's their fucking company. They could take it in the wrong direction if they want. Just fucking burn the company down. Okay, maybe don't burn the company all the way down, because then that means like layoffs and stuff like that. Went through that. But you pretty much just cater to one client. When you are working as a service-based, like working as an employee for a service-based business, you have one client. Not 5, not 10, not 20, not 100, because more money means more people. More money means more problems, right? Biggie. You have one client to keep happy. You got your wife to keep happy over here, your kids to keep happy, and you got your fucking boss. You got your boss over here. You're like, yo, Sally, I got you. You're like, Sally, you want to do this fucking crazy ass conference? Let's go. Let's crush this fucking conference. Let's do this shit. Just one person to keep happy. Now you may say, well, Will, there's people that I work with. Sure, okay. So you got the boss, and you got your department, which is like 5 fucking people, maybe it's a little more, that you actually interact with on the day-to-day. And like those people are just like vibing too. Most people are chilling. They're like, I want to get paid money and not get fired. So cool, I'm just gonna vibe. There may be an asshole, there may be one other asshole, but you could literally just chill with like 2 or 3 assholes, right? I don't want to call the boss an asshole. The boss, like, it got a lot on the line. For real, on some real shit, y'all should be like, yo, thank you, boss, for taking all this bullshit on so I don't have to, and you're paying me money. You're fucking crazy. Thank you so much. You're paying me money and you're taking all this risk on. I take none of the risk on. Oh my God. Thank you for the bonuses. Thank you for the holiday dinners. Thank you so much. I gotta throw all the thank yous out there for all my past bosses that, like, it is crazy what they actually go through, and they make it look easy. And a lot of times what people see is the boss like 30 years later. You notice how a lot of times your bosses are old as fuck? It took them that long to get there. They had to go through so much shit. And to me, not worth going through that shit. Now, this is all past Will, okay? I believe that there's a better way. Let's move into part 2 of this, which is the present. I think that there's this thing called YouTube, called TikTok, those things. And everything that we're talking about can apply to that, but at massive scale and in such a less, like, miles and miles of non-headaches as much as what I just explained. So YouTube, remember, I think I talked about this before, so if you're kind of new to the channel, you have service-based businesses, you have product-based businesses, and you have audience-based businesses. We're not talking about product-based businesses today. We just talked a lot about service-based businesses. I want to recommend for anyone that is in service-based entrepreneurship hell, not working for a person, but entrepreneurship hell of service-based, I want to recommend going and making an audience-based business. What does that mean? Audience-based business is, it sounds like it is. Pretty much, you have knowledge. You already have knowledge because we know this. You built out a whole business on that knowledge about that you have, whether it's going through the bullshit of the business or the service that the product that you're going to deliver. You have knowledge. Knowledge is key. So you can talk probably with confidence about that service. This is why it's already probably you went through the fucking shit. You went through all that shit, and guess what? Now you get to benefit from the shit. You get to benefit from all the heartache, all the pain. This is what I'm doing, at least. You get to benefit from like the years of fuckery. You're like, why did I do that? And now you get to share that with people. You're like, okay, you're trying to build a table. Let me tell you all the ways not to build a fucking table, because you can build a table really wrong. I have no clue about how to build a table, by the way. Table emoji, I think there's one. So audience-based business. What you do is you go to this thing, YouTube, and you say, you know what? All right, I want to build an audience-based business. Well, let me tell you about the economics of how it works, and then I'll tell you about what maybe you should talk about. So what happens is you build an audience and you get up to 10,000 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers or whatever it is. By the way, it's not as crazy and impossible as you think it is. I feel like the Joker here. They're like, you're crazy. You're like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. You build this asset called an audience. An audience isn't getting taxed, okay? Maybe YouTube is somehow taxing the audience somehow. But you are not paying Uncle Sam for that audience. And then eventually in time, the same route that we kind of know, you can get monetized on YouTube and you get paid money, okay? So if we look at what our service-based business before was, you needed to go out and market, okay? You needed to go out and close, and you also needed to deliver a product, and then you needed to get them to do it again. So with YouTube, we actually start with the product, which is the video. Your video that you make is the product. Then you make that video, you upload it to the internet, and then you press the publish button on YouTube, and then YouTube does all your marketing for you. You don't have to go out and do the marketing. They just do it. You could, but they just do it. Now, conversion, closing, getting people to actually eat your video or consume your video or do your, like, that's just conversion, which is pretty much just your thumbnail. People click into it, meaning that they actually voted to watch it. Then they watch it, okay? That's all it is. But guess what? You made that video once, but now 100 people, 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people can literally see that same video and interact with that video. So instead of you building one table for one fucking person and one table for one fucking person and one table for one person, you make one video for 100 people, one video for 1,000 people, one video for 1,000,000 people. It's so scalable. And what happens is then, guess what? The product took you 30 minutes, it took you an hour, it took you 4 hours, it took you whatever it is. It took you just a couple of hours to knock it out. So your product fulfillment loop, remember how we were trying to fulfill big ticket for people and it took us a long time? It just got much shorter, much smaller. Now you make another video, and guess what? You don't have to think about another client or whatever. All you're doing is really talking to your fucking self. You're talking to the avatar of yourself, and you're just having these talks and vibing. So you just make more content that you actually enjoy doing, and guess what? Then you start getting subs and getting views, right? We're on our way to an easy 100,000 views for the month. Just think about that. You talking to 100,000 people every month. And you know how much time I've spent on my YouTube channel? I've spent like an hour, maybe a day, hour and a half a day. And guess what? The more people that come to the channel, that time doesn't have to change. It stays right there. When you do a service-based business, the more people that come in the fucking door, the more people, the more time expands, the more you have to serve. And that's not fun. It is the worst because it feels good. It feels initially good. You're like, oh fuck, I'm getting paid money. You're like, money, yeah, great, money. but at what cost? Like, you do the thing and then now you have to bring more people in the door. And guess what? Your product probably sucks, so people are going to drop out the end of the funnel, and then you have to bring in more people and more people. And yes, you can get employees to do this on your behalf, but do you want to be in the business of managing other people too? I know that I maybe sold myself the dream that that's maybe what I wanted to do, but the more and more I realize it, I care a lot about like time freedom. I care a lot about my own sanity. Like, I'm down to vibe out with you guys, but I also want to hang out with my wife and my kids and play chess, okay? And I don't want to have mental clarity or fires burning in the back of my head about clients that have client deadlines that have passed, or clients that aren't doing this, or clients that haven't paid, or employees that are like that are not doing good work. I don't want any of that. So I get to remove all of that. Peace out. Bye. Shoop. And then I get to pretty much just talk about stuff I like to talk about anyways. Really easy for me to do that. I know that some people may not be able to like talk on camera and be like very confident, but bro, talking on camera is easier than the bullshit of solo entrepreneurship when it comes to service-based businesses. I promise. There's only a few skills that you actually have to learn though too. Instead of you having to learn all this other stuff, like, you learn how to turn the camera on and make a talking head video. I'm not talking about making the most craziest video ever. I think of course all that stuff can matter and build stuff up, but I'm of the opinion myself is that you can, this is what I'm doing, do what you want. You can turn your iPhone on, cinematic mode, flip face camera, press record for 30 minutes to an hour. Then you go to this website called Opus, I think it's opus.pro now, or opusclips.pro. Just Google it or chat GPT it. And then it can take this long 30-minute or long hour video and convert it into 20 to 40 clips that you then can schedule out. I'm telling you the exact thing you should do. If you want 100,000 views per month, no cap, there's no secret here. I'm trying to tell you this or give you this because this is what I'm doing, and this is it. Make the video, upload it to YouTube, like use Canva to make a clever thumbnail or whatever. Your long video will not matter that much in the beginning, at least I can tell you for me. Like, my long videos, these videos right here, do not get that many clicks, and they do not get that long of watch time, okay? But the shorts that are made from this, I spend no time having to, I wouldn't say no time, but I spend maybe 30 minutes. Literally, like, you take the link from YouTube, go to Opus Clips, it makes all the videos, and then you just publish. And it takes me maybe like 30 minutes to publish all those videos. And I schedule, what I do is I schedule for every 2 hours. Every 2 hours. Not once a day, not twice a day, every 2 hours. So let's talk about the other problem with this since we're here. Like, there's no money yet, right? With the YouTube thing. That's what everyone's like, you know, for me at least too. I was like, oh, I need to make money. I need to make money. Like, a traditional fucking job on some real shit is the best thing to do. A traditional job, or being self-employed, working for like Walmart or whatever. Like, it's so simple. The brain fuckery it's such a low thing. Entrepreneurship, high level fuckery. High level of fuckery, okay? And this is not saying that you're not an entrepreneur. It's just shifting the model that you're in. Service-based entrepreneurship is very low leverage, okay? Because it's a one-to-one thing, okay? An audience-based business or even a product-based business is highly scalable, right? Because my audience compounds. My audience just does not get one more person. It compounds. Every video that I put out, it exponentially then starts to grow, okay? And that you cannot achieve with time, with your own time specifically, catering as a service-based person. Now, we talked a couple things, right? So the fulfillment was your video. The marketing was YouTube distribution. It just puts it out, which technically we'll call it YouTube plus Opus Clips, because Opus Clips schedules all that shit out. And TikTok and all the other social media platforms distribute it. The conversion is, of course, people just watching the video. And then the ascension is them just doing it more and more and more. And that just happens without you having to beg anybody. You don't have to beg anybody. But hey, please buy more of my product. I promise it's good. You don't got to do any of that. They just do it. They show up, and if they don't, they don't. They show, like, it just happens. So all you have to do is make a video. Now, let's talk about monetization and all the other things that come with it. So once you've, again, I'm not to this point, so this is, take Will with you know, take it as you will, but these are my assumptions, and we'll talk about this. This is a good place for us to say future, okay? Chapter 3, future, part 3, whatever, future. You continue just giving up an hour of your day, or maybe 2 hours of your day. You keep your regular job and get paid money. So you get a 10x leverage of building this beautiful audience. And I would challenge you to say, if a bigger audience does not mean better opportunities, okay? If you see someone with 100,000 subscribers, or even 10,000 subscribers, you feel as though they're legit. Now, also, if you're trying to get a job within the service that you're doing, you having all these videos talking about how to do like that service and what to do, high probability that that'll actually give you better opportunities. So the audience itself, just in general, it gives you credibility. It gives you credibility that you can, that you're there, that you exist, that you're online. So it's already a beautiful asset as it is, that will keep on going up and up and up and up, and your distribution just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But as your distribution gets bigger and you finally get to that 3,000 hour watch time on YouTube, then we can monetize. Don't know what those checks look like. I'm sure they're itty bitty at first, but eventually they become bigger and bigger. Like, I'm sure you've heard and talked and whatever. I don't know this. Again, we're not there yet. Then, of course, you can create a Patreon. And the crazy thing is that you don't need to create a new product. You just pretty much say, I'm going to give you more of what you already want. If you want to support my journey, great. Go pay for my $10 Patreon. And like $10 and $10 and $10 and $10 for you not doing much more effort than what you're doing right now. That is, and it grows and grows and grows with the audience. That, again, remember, one video doesn't mean one person watches. One video means exponential people watch. And that, you just can't do that as a service-based business, or at least without other people, without capital, without employees, etc. You can, and you pretty much are buying other people's time. But I'd rather leverage media. It's so simple. It's like so chill. It's so chill to like just chill and be your authentic self. The audience is also so much more forgiving. The audience, if you think about it, are your customers, okay? They're so much more forgivable. They're just chilling, hanging with you. They don't expect you to fucking DM them. They don't expect you to call them. They don't expect none of that. Like, if you comment to them, they're like, oh my God, you commented. Like, the bar is so low, and they also just support you. They're like, I'm on the journey with you. Keep on uploading. You got this. Thumbs up. keep fucking crushing. Do your thing, bro. We're here for you. I'm sure that I'll get to a point where there may be like negative comments and stuff like that, but I can promise I imagine that the abuse of the comment section is not as bad as like you feeling as though you're letting down clients all day long, or you feeling as though you're letting down your teammates all day long, or you feeling as though you're like the obligation of like, if I don't make payroll, these people will not eat. I can't imagine like that's like, if I had to pick two different stresses versus like comment section versus like keeping other people alive, like it's already stressful doing that for my own family. Now imagine doing that for other people's families. That skill, like that can be a lot. I don't know, haven't been there, but I imagine it might be a lot. Also, so you got monetization, you got Patreon, you got sponsorships, because again, remember, we're building an audience product, okay? Audience-based business. So once your audience is at mass, other people want access to that audience. They're like, I want access to busy parents that care about business. Great. Here's this credit card. Here's this whatever. Like, of course, align the sponsorships. Again, we're not here yet. This is speculation of the future. But align the sponsorships with what your values are. Don't go crazy. Don't do but you get paid every video based on these sponsors. So you got your YouTube's paying you. TikTok might be paying you now. You got Patreon. So people that care a lot about you, that just want to support your journey. You have sponsorships that are now paying you. If people have been watching your channel, they want to feel as though they're part of the community. And so, of course, merch now makes sense. You literally just slapping your logo or whatever or saying on a hoodie takes no time. Like, no time on a shirt. And then you could sell it for $50 or $25 if it's a shirt or whatever. Like, very simple. And then here's what's crazy. Here's what's even crazier. If you really did want to make a good bit of money after that, and I'm not even talking about affiliate links, like after that, then you could be like, you know what? I got something to say, even though you've been saying a lot of shit. I got something to say. Like, I'm going to build out a course. And I want to build out a course. You know, I don't think I'm to the point where I'm ready to do all that or invest. Like, I know the structure. I see it. I see it. But when you get there, guess what? You can leverage up your audience-based business with your product-based business, okay? This is what's fucking crazy. Because you now have the high leverage of the audience, now you can go out and take some time and build out a course. Maybe it takes you a month to build out a course, and you've already been doing video. They already know your face. They already trust you. They already know your vibes. So it's just more. It's just more of the same, just deeper of the more. And they're like, hey, here goes this course. Here goes this course for $99. Here goes this course for $250. Here goes this course for $1,000. Whatever it is. Most people won't buy it. But now this is just a conversion game. 99% of people will not buy. 1% of people will click through from your YouTube videos over to the course page. And of those 1% of people, maybe 5% of those people actually buy. Again, the course is leveraged because you made it one time, and now infinite people, the more that your audience grows, the more people will just buy the course. You made the course once. You made the video once. You didn't have to do it again. You're not promising the world. It's all do it yourself. Like, done for you is very white gloved. Done with you is, you know, it's still close there. I'm doing it with you. So people have these expectations of high results, right? But when it's done for it, do it yourself, like most people are like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna try to do it and figure it out myself. If I mess up my brakes, it's probably not this video's fault. It's probably my fault because I don't really know how to change my brakes. I'm trying to follow the video as best I can. If I need more help, then I could probably ask that person to do it. By the way, don't do that. I mean, you could. You can get into consulting after that. You can get into all this other stuff. But again, that's going back to the service-based business, which recovering service-based business addict over here. Just, you know, we're tying up ends, and you have so much more leverage doing an audience-based business, and then it all allows, like I said, allows you to transition into a product-based business, which now that you have the network, that works. If you just started with the product-based business but you had no network, you would spend a lot of time building out an asset and no one would come. And yes, there's paid advertising, but that's a whole nother thing you have to learn and figure out. So that's why the audience gives you leverage for everything else. Gives you leverage because if you wanted to actually then start back up a service-based business, you would have the leverage of people that care about your stuff, so you don't actually have to sell them that much. They just be like, yeah, I'm vibe, give me that. Or you can make a book or whatever. All this stuff, again, this is future speculative stuff of what I believe it will be once I get to mass, once I get to scale. All right, cool. I think that really wraps up why I'm now a recovering service-based business entrepreneur. Why I'm spending all my time focused on leveraging up and building up my YouTube channel, which is an audience-based model. And yeah, I couldn't be happier. My mental clarity is just so good right now. I've been playing chess, hanging out, watching movies. We've been doing family field trips. Look. Just a. You said where was whiteboard wheel? Not white boy. Whiteboard wheel. I got reflections on reflections, so I can't really see. But we did Titan's 7-level birthday yesterday. It was so much fun. I'll just give you very quickly for the if you made it to the deep end. Cheers. First level 1 was Bojangles and Dunkin' Donuts. Then we went to go get Titan a clock and watch. He's really into the watches and time right now. Big into it. So we did that. That was 2. Number 3 was grab bag. So like for all the other kids, like the kids, it's like a whole bunch of little things to grab. Number 4 was going, like we've had some broken controllers in the house. Family of 6 boys. So we went to go get new controllers so that they can like we can play games again. Oh my God. Then of course number 5 was playing games like on the Xbox and the PlayStation. Number 6 was a Papa John's pizza party. And then number 7 was watching the Dog Man movie, the 7 layers, the 7 levels. And like I'm just saying, the mental clarity is crazy. Because all I have to do is every day show up for an hour, 2 hours. And no matter how big this gets, it's the same amount of my time. And I think that is fucking beautiful. So, rest in peace, service-based businesses. Again, we got a couple of things to tie up, but no more. Again, if you work for an employer, do that. I think this is great. It is arbitrage. It's crazy that they give you bonuses, holidays, benefits, all this stuff. Crazy. Do that, but my advice, don't start an entrepreneur business based on the services that you feel like you're good at, because it's a roller coaster. All right, catch you next time. Take care. Peace.